Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stock Trades. How's everybody doing? All right, guys. So let's go ahead and do some bit of due diligence here. All right. So a couple days ago, I got a ping. Okay. I think it was Clove to the Moon. Yeah, right here. Al Stock Trades, Gun Show Trader. I think it's safe to assume it's more likely Clove bought back some shares to reduce the share count by roughly 5 million. Then a glitch occurred within the trading platforms. I'm going to the notion now the outstanding shares is now 505. Okay, good. Who said it's a glitch? Nobody I know has said that. I mentioned that it's a glitch, could have occurred, but you know, kind of wait and see, right? So, what happens? Yeah, and it is a great sign. I agree. So, what happens if I were to tell you that a couple days ago we were talking on the terminal? I haven't had the opportunity to make a video about it because I was working about other things. What's going on? Turn up, Tony. Oops, wrong live. Are you sure, Ethan? Greetings, greetings. All right. So, what happens if I were to tell you that yes, there is a way to check. So very quickly, if you were to look at our intrinsic value calculation, we have about 510 million shares. That's what our system is reporting. Okay. But the thing is that we need to talk about is our system uses the most recent filing. And our system uses the filing system directly from um, Andrew Toy's company. So let me explain. So to answer this question, we go to Brain Machine and we go to share float and we type in Clove. By the way, the dog sitter may be coming anytime soon. So if you hear dogs bark, it's that, right? So just letting you know. So you can see that there's 510 million outstanding shares. So where does our Brain Machine get that system from? Now I should have restarted my computer from the last live. It's being a little wonky, but this is the SEC form, and then you could read it and you can see that it gets it from our Brain Machine automatically, looks at this, reads this, and it gives you all that information. Now, the question that is arising is, did Clove buy back 5 million shares? Because they went from 510 to 505. In fact, a lot of platforms like Schwab and Dwab and Moab and Zob are all reporting 505. So let me explain to you how they're doing that. So in our platform, we like to wait until Clover tells us how many shares they have. But there's a way to find it. So if you type in, this is our tri-statement financial insight engine. You type in Clove and you get all this data. And you go to cash flow statement. Okay. And you go down here. Very simple. We scroll down and let's zoom in a little bit so we can see the whole thing. That's good, right? That's really zoomed in now. Okay. What's going on, Edie Flores? Oh, Master, what's going? You sold all your shares? You sold $261,000 and bought a gold Rolex. Hey, by the way, that Rolex you showed today looked really good. He's on our stock terminal. Yeah, dude, that Rolex, man. I'm thinking of getting a gold, just straight up gold Rolex, straight up gold. I like gold. It looks good on my skin. Also, that the one that you got is nice too. Yeah, we're up late today, so this is going to be a good thing to talk about. So look at this. There's a little section here. Okay, it's called common stock repurchased. This is for 2024. And what do you see? Okay, I think the The dog walker is coming in. So if you hear a bunch of barking, just know that it's the dog walk. The walkers are here. Breaking. What is that from? Walking Dead. So you could see here that in 2024, Clover did 18.26 million in common stock repurchase. So they bought back $18 million. So 18.2 million. So how do I know it's in millions? Well, our platform goes off of standard accounting practices, which the numbers are in millions. And I've said this since the first video of our channel, right? So, wait, hold on, let me see here. Al, could you use your platform to let dumb money know that stock compensation are necessary and a universal practice? And crazy how many people cry about it. Yeah. So here's stock-based compensation. Just let me just quickly answer this question. You could see stock-based compensation for Palantir here. It was high in the beginning, and then it's slowly doing. It's still high. Yeah, no, it's a common practice because why dwindle your cash reserves when you can just issue stock, right? Exactly. Oh, and then the taxes. We talked about it. Honestly, I made a post about it on Reddit. We can. I'll get back to it, but I can make a dedicated video on it if you want to. But yeah, these Form 4s are automatic. So and if retail investors can't get that, then if they sell, they sell. They'll regret it later. But so what do you see here? No, of course, Kamsi, of course, I'm here. Not when you gonna be 100 million net worth soon. Hell yeah, baby. My wife wants a divorce. Oh no. Right? Don't worry. Keep your CLOV shares. She'll stay. I'm just kidding. or she might leave. Who knows? I'm sure a lot of people are like, man, Al, my wife is sick of hearing your voice, right? Okay, so 18 mil. So they bought back 18.2 million of back in Clover. So let's do the math. So what's 18 mil divided by what is the CLOV stock price? $3.34, $3.50. Let's say, because it wasn't $3.30, it was like $3.50 around, right? So we'll go here, divide by 350. So that's about 5 million shares. So Clover bought back 5 million shares. Okay, so they bought back 5 million shares. And what did Clove to the Moon say? Honestly, there was a post before. He tagged me in. I didn't see this. Dude, Clover, Twitter doesn't show me your post, dude. I don't know why. Don't know why Clover doesn't show me your post. Here it is. Yeah, so you're upset that the outstanding shares were 510. Okay. And then now you've seen that they dropped to 505. Well, if they bought around 18.2 million back, and if we take 18 million divided by 3.5, you get 5 million, right? That's 5 million, right? So they bought back 5 million shares. So what's 510 minus 5? What's 510 minus 5? That's 505, which is what the number you're getting here. You see how that makes sense? But now let's go a little deeper because you know me. I always like to go deeper. So the definition of common stock repurchase is the company buying back its shares. right? Shares purchased at the purchase price. The problem is you have to ask yourself, well, is this a share buyback or is this a treasury buyback? Now, if you don't know the word treasury, then we got some education to do. Okay. So if we go back to Brain Machine, and if we're to click on this, this is the annual 10K report. And if we were to go here and say, let's see if I can find it. Give me a moment. Again, this is the 490. For folks at Nirav, you're asking me a long time ago, why does this say 490? Is because it's pulling it from the report. There's the 490, right? But obviously, the intrinsic value takes the most accurate one, but that's where that's coming from. Just to hold on, guys. Just to get you kind of accustomed to how to read these. So all right, I'm just trying to find the Jesus. Okay. All right, let's see if we can find it. Here it is. Again, I'm just showing you here. Then again, this is a live, so I'm just trying to show you. I don't have it ready, so I have to pull it up. So all right, that's good enough. All right, so we can let's give you the reading, because sometimes it's better. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Of course, it resets me. Hold on. All right, there it is. Okay, so net cash, net cash used in financing activities. Let me see, you guys. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, good. Net cash used in financing activities for the year ended in December 31, 2024, of 17.4 million was primarily the result of acquisition of 16.5 million in treasury and a repurchase of 1.8 million of Class A common stock. So they did about 1.8 million of repurchase, which is their share buyback, but they did 16 million of their treasury stock. So what is the difference between treasury stock and and repurchase? So these are two different things, okay? But they kind of they're kind of nested in the same thing. Again, this is why accounting is annoying, but you have to understand that, okay? So what ends up happening is when a company purchases its shares back for treasury stock, it's a way for the company to essentially be able to smartly pay back their employees. And I can show you an explanation here. So let's go in Clover, and then we'll go treasury stock. Oh, there's the one here. Let me remove the one. There it is. And a lot of our lifetime members were talking about this. Let me go back to my message here. These are all good stuff here. Here it is. This is my message right here. So, April 25, which was, I don't know, a week ago, I talked about this this whole concept of common stock of the 18.26 million. So I talked about that, and that was on April 25. And then Clove to the Moon on May 3rd discovered it, and I was like, all right, fine, I got to make a video on this, right? So I talked about it before on our lifetime access. Now that's why I tell you our lifetime access is really nice. Let me zoom in here so we can read it. Make some space here. Our lifetime access is nice because we get down to the nitty gritty. It's not just hype and it's all analysis. And we've discovered things like the star ratings before it even happened. So, and the point is that's these brokers, what they do is they calculate this automatically. I don't like to do that. I like to wait, but if you want to calculate automatically, I give you the data, right? Because we leave no stone unturned. So I commented and I said, to be clear, this also can be treasury stock as well. So I said, all right, quick heads up on what treasury stock means. When you see it pop up in Clover Health's 10K report, treasury stock just means the company bought back some of its own shares and kept them in-house, kind of like putting them back into their own wallet. These shares aren't counted as active shares anymore. They don't get dividends, they don't get votes, and they basically just sit there. In Clover's case, they didn't announce a big share buyback for investors. This was more of a normal behind-the-scenes move to manage employee stock awards, like stock bonuses for workers. So, and how I know that is, well, if you go back to the share stock repurchase, you could see that in 2023, they bought $6 million worth of shares. And then in 2022, they also bought another $6 million worth of shares. So they have been buying some of their stock, right? It's just for the first time, they bought a lot. And they only technically bought based off of the annual 10K report, which our brain machine immediately took us to. They got, only 1.8 million was repurchased from the share, from the share buyback, which I think was at 20 million that we had. So there's still $18.2 million left, right? So are you getting this, guys? Because if you're not getting this and you're watching, comment in the comment section and I can see kind of where the deficiency is. Because remember, we're an educational platform. Okay, so let's go back and let's say it's an accounting thing you'll often see on the 10K, but it's routine, small, and not meant to move the stock price. So if you see treasury stock on their balance sheet, now you know. Okay, so or the annual 10K report, right? So, and also the cash flow statement. My apologies, there's a typo there. Again, I'm only human, right? But so the reason why I'm shedding, I can't speak, guys. Look, I'm shutting light on this because I use text to speech. Is just how much treasury stock they bought. They bought around 18 million. So, yeah, I know this is wild. I have to put my son daycare and yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, this is the stock board. The stock terminal is very amazing. It's very powerful. So let's go back. So let's now take 16.5 and add it to 1.7. No, I'm sorry, 1.8. 1.8. So I did it on another screen, so we could do it here. So take 16.5 and add it to 1.8. So if we take 16.5 and then we add it to 1.8, you get 18.3. Okay, what is this 18.3? It's right here. 18.26. It's just the 6 is higher than 5, so it rounds up to the 3, so it becomes 18.3, which is what we got here by adding these two. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that is. So yes, clove to the moon. You've astutely figured this out correctly. I have talked about it in April 25th before you caught on to it. My apologies that I didn't make a video on it because there were other things I was trying to make videos on. But yes, we have discussed this already. Okay. Okay. If I haven't pissed you off, I'm gonna piss you off more now. Okay. So my girl went to a Arabic wedding in California. Right. I told her, hey, the Mac studio you have is really nice. Can I like use your desk while you're gone? She's like, of course. Why do you even have to ask? I said, oh, good, thank you. So I logged in and I realized my so I have my own account on the computer. So I logged into the computer and I found my old due diligence that I was looking at in February, like it was in February, and I'm so sad. This is kind of funny. This is gonna piss you off. So I was looking at the computer. I was like, "Oh shit!" I remember what happened. So you remember when I was doing, I was like, I was doing my rotations and everything, and I was doing yes. So B-Rad Cooley, based off of what I'm seeing here, they still have 18 million of share buyback. That's what I think. Because if we go to Clover Health Investor Relations, let's go to Q1. Is it Q1 or is it Q2? I think it's Q2, right? Yeah, it was Q2, remember? Because they were positive. It's going to let me. Got to go back up here. Did they buy back some of their shares here? And they always increase their guidance, which is pretty good. So hopefully they do that again. Like, am I tripping here? You know where it is? Was it on this one? B-Rad, help me out here. They bought shares in Q2, wasn't it? It's been a while since I looked at this document. They have it listed as common. What should I search? Do I really? Here it is. Got it. Right there. Found it right here. I'm like, do I really have to read the freaking document? All right. I was hoping they would talk about it. Or here it is. Right here. So, repurchase of common stock, 1.7. Right. So they've spent 1.7 million on buyback. Which, if you look at their annual report, that's where that one. Well, I think they rounded up because was it 1.77? So the 7 is higher than 5, so goes up 1, so 1.8. So that's what that is right there, 1.8. So repurchase of 1.8 million of common stock. Okay. So and what you can do is you can read here and say treasury stock acquired in Q2. They acquired. We'll put this kind of in red. Can we put it in red? Okay, we can't. It's just a different color. That's fine. So they bought 4.8 million in treasury stock in Q2. Okay. So 4.8 mil. All right. So let's go back to our stock terminal and let's look at quarterly for Q2. So here's Q2. So it's in this row. So the third one down here. Let's look at a common stock repurchase. So you could say Q2, they bought 3.22. That's kind of what they're seeing. And then 4.89 and 6.8. So you could see that they bought a lot this year. It's hard to read because it's better to read like this. So this is kind of like last year and this is this year. So Q1 they bought 3.3 million versus Q1 they increased it. So but then Q2 they bought $420,000, but Q2 2024 they bought around $3 million a share. Then Q3 they upped it to almost 4.89 million. In Q4 they upped it to 6 point. The point that I'm trying to tell you, just this simple here, is that they went from 6 million of shares buyback to 18 million. Okay. So what does that mean? What it means is it helps to manage employee stock rewards. You see how they're able to shift it down to 505 now, outstanding, which is nice. I don't know why it's not reflected, but I think that's potentially what I think. Again, I could be mistaken. That's what I think the 5 million is coming from. The math works out, and this is what kind of Gun Show was alluding to, right? So I think that's where that's coming from. So the question you have to ask yourself: so Gun Show, what I want to tell you is that we still have more gas in the tank. So we still have more gas in the tank. I am typing this live right now. Please watch the share buyback video at around 28 minutes, plus or minus. So I hope this makes sense. Who's gonna be like, what is this guy talking about? Gas in the tank. This guy's gone crazy, right? But that's kind of what's going on. So if you guys understand what I'm saying, if you don't understand, please let me know. If you do understand, let me know. So yeah. Good. So we have a lot of our members common talking, and so what does that mean? Okay, so they bought about 1.8 million. That means we 20 million. They said 20 million, right? Is that what they said? We got 20 million buyback, right? So 20 million minus 1.8. So we got about 18.2 million left. So 18.2 million divided by, let's say 350. That's another 5 million shares. So potentially Clover could drop back down to 500 million outstanding shares. And they could even buy back even more treasury, which then drops us down even more. So the question you have to ask yourself is, and I'm going really slow on this on purpose because I'm trying to take you from zero to hero. I mean, again, there's no YouTube channel out there that does this deep analysis, especially on a freaking Saturday night. Right? I'm very passionate about this. I love this. I'm passionate about this. And it's an honor and it's a privilege to have you watch this video. You understand how happy I am to be able to show you this and teach you this, because if you understand this, it's one step closer to your financial freedom, because not a lot of people understand this. And it's just such an honor and privilege to be able to be this small piece in your life. Okay. Crumpsy, yes, GBT is amazing. We were just talking about that yesterday. I like to do it a little. I like to first try on my own, so I can kind of make my brain work a little bit because I don't want to be that person who doesn't know how many millions are in a billion. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they did about 2 billion. It's technically 1.8, but yeah, 2. So who knows? You're right, B-Rad. I'm checking the comments now. You're right, B-Rad. There could be another Q1 surprise. Who knows? I mean, the stock did drop, but I think it didn't drop in the Q1 portion. Q1 ended a while ago. I think they're going to do another share buyback in Q2. Here comes a dog walker. Hold on, guys. Here comes the dog walker. Hold on. I'm going to put on an intermediate song right now. Hold on. Okay, so the walker is walking one of the dogs. I have another one for her to walk. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, so just again, there was a lot of barking. So I just wanted to let's just wait and come back. Okay, so let's go back. I added shares. I have a cash now. I sold Fubo. Oh no, it is. I haven't done Fubo. I haven't looked at Fubo in a long time. How is Fubo doing? Is okay? Oh no. Fubo? Let's see. The free cash flow. Oh man, that is a negative here. Positive free cash. So Q3 net income. It is turning positive for the first time. Are they? Is there any hope? Is there any hope for them? Book value is 61 pennies. Let's look at Fubo. I'm just curious. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's take a look. Yeah, still got some assets here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Let's go back to Clove. Stock issued. Oh, no, stock repurchased. Yeah, there he goes. Okay. Here's some stock-based comp. Lots of stock-based comp. Okay, so yeah, flow went down. That's about 1% increase in stock price. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really make a difference, right? I agree. 505. We need more analysts covering Clove after. Yes, do they? Yep, they still do. There's going to be a surprise. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. Okay, so so I think what are we in? We're in the fifth month of the year, right? So I think January, February, March. I think Q1 ended in the end of March. And I don't think the stock price fell that much in March, did it? For Clover? Because here's March. I mean, they could have bought here. They could have bought 330, but I mean, if I was Clover, I'd probably buy here. Which is sadly going to be reported in Q2. I think this is going to be in Q2. So I think we're going to see repurchase of share in Q2. No. Come on, guys. Come on, please. All right. So I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Just dogs and stuff. Let me No. B-Rad. No, that's wrong. That's incorrect, B-Rad. Okay, so they are using free cash to buy treasury stock. Okay. Treasury stock is their own shares. It's their own chest box. So think of like So there is another section of them buying T-bills. That's different. Okay. That's different. Right. This is them buying their own shares. That's what I believe is what I'm interpreting here. Treasury stock is their own stock. So we could just kind of we could open up the terminal here. We could say at stock terminal, what does this mean? What is the difference between treasury stock versus the repurchase of Class A? So let's see. So I mean, it could mean T-bills, but I think it's their own share. It's their own share price. That's from my understanding. Let's see. When I took accounting and finance, let's see. Treasury stock. This represents shares that company has bought back with shareholders and holds in its treasury. These shares are not exactly. Treasury stock. This represents shares a company has bought from its shareholders. So yeah, so I was correct. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure because I got a lot of people watching this channel, and I want to make sure we're good, right? Let me see. Shares are not considered when calculating earnings per share, EPS, and do not voting rights. The acquisition of $16.5 million in treasury stock indicates that the company has repurchased a significant amount of its own shares, which can be a way to return value to shareholders to reduce the number of shares outstanding, potentially increasing the value of remaining shares. Repurchase of class of common stock. This specifically refers to the buyback of a particular class of shares. In this case, class of common stock amounting to $1.8 million. Class A shares may have different voting rights or other characteristics compared to other classes of stock. So essentially, this helps with earnings per share and voting rights. Oh, sorry, earnings per share and does not have voting rights. So that's why I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, this is another way of artificially inflating EPS. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. These shares are not considered when calculating earnings per share. So these are hidden. I'm confusing between so this 1.8 million that was bought, right? Or 1.77 million. So 1.8 million. This impacts EPS. Okay. And this is the one that essentially they used to buy back their shares, which ultimately affects this one. This one has voting. So this one has voting rights. The treasury stock. Oh yeah, and don't worry about the food. I'll take care of the food. Yeah. So this one, in terms of treasury stock, this is the one that does not, of course, anytime. So the treasury stock, this does not have voting rights and it does not impact earnings per share, which is why a lot of retail investors couldn't really see this in the earnings report because they never really talk about this. Okay, so my apologies. I just got confused. There's a lot going on right now. I have the dog walker and I have like 3 dogs circulating me like Navy SEAls. So I'm doing a lot right now. Sorry. So as I'm doing this live with no script, so I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so treasury. To answer your question, B Rad Cooley. So they are using free cash to buy treasury stocks. No, not T-bills. There's another section for T-bills. I don't want to confuse it, but no, they're buying their own stock. So it's kind of weird. It's like I'm confused, Al. So you're saying they're buying $17.4 million of their own stock. Sorry, $16.5 million of their own stock, but they're also doing $1.8 million of their own stock. Isn't that near the $20 million of repurchase that they said they're going to do? No, they only used 1.8 million of the 20 million. This 16.5 million is buying their own stock that does not have to deal with the 20 million because this does not impact EPS. So to make things simple, just add 16.5 plus 20. So they pretty much are about to do $36.5 million of share buybacks in a way of looking at it, right? And who knows, they may even do another 16.5 million of treasury stock in 2025. So why is this important? Well, if they're buying back more of their own stock, then they decrease the float. And if they decrease the float, then obviously that increases the intrinsic value. So why are they doing this? So that the new people that they're going to hire in a year from now or 2 years from now, they know that their stock is going to be higher. So the $16 million of treasury stock, if the stock, let's say, goes to, I don't know, $15, then, 16.5 divided by 3.5, that's about, well, let me just say here, that's about 5 million shares around that, let's say 4.7 million. Well, if this goes to $15, then now they just turned 16 million into 70 million. So you see how that 70 million, you starting to see how the math works for them. Again, we're going really slow here because this is such an important concept. And for B-Rad Cooley to ask this question, B-Rad Cooley is advanced. So if he's asking this question, I know other people that are watching this are going to be confused too, which is why, I'm happy I messed up. So you guys can see that, this is hard, right? You have two different components. They're both shares of the same company. One's considered treasury stock, which doesn't impact earnings per share and has no voting rights, and one does. Right? So you see that's kind of freaking weird, right? So I'm gonna press this AI, right? So they're considered two different things, but aren't they the same shares? Isn't that weird? Let's see what it says. It might seem a bit confusing. It might seem a bit confusing at first, but let's clarify the distinction. While both treasury stock and repurchase classic, stock involve a company buying back its own shares. They are categorized differently based on context and specific type of shares involved. So let's see here. So while they do represent the same shares, the ones being bought, the terminology reflects the broader category. Treasury stock versus the specific action taken on a particular class of shares. Classic common stock. It's not weird. It's just a matter of how companies track and report their stock repurchase activities. This categorization helps investors understand companies' actions regarding different classes of stock and how they manage their equity structure. Exactly. It gives us more information, right, on what they're doing. So what this tells me is that they're anticipating higher SG&A costs in 2025. And to combat that, they purchase extra treasury stock so they can pay their employees rather than diluting shareholders. Get it? All right. So I think that's it. Let's move on for other questions. Oh, here. Oh my God. Yeah, there. Well, Rafiki, you just beat me to it. They are doing it in a way so they don't die. Well, there you go. There it is, Rafiki. So Rafiki said they're doing it this way so that they don't have to dilute to pay their employees. They are smart, absolutely. But if they stop spending their cash on treasury, they could be three-headed dragon. Not quite yet, not quite yet, B-Rad, because look, they're negative. This is Fubo, sorry. I'm like, wait, what? They're negative 43.01 million. So that 16 million ain't gonna do anything. But perhaps I think break even may happen in 2025. We'll see. But you're yes and no. It's just this B-Rad, this gives me confidence that they believe their stock price is going to be higher for them to invest it because it's clear that last year they only put in 6 mil. This year they're putting 18 mil. That is, let's see what their enhanced AI analysis says. Let's see. This is under the cash flow statement. Let's see if it picks it up. So I need to fix the math here, but ultimately you can read it and it's the same. So this is a negative number. Where the hell did it go? Man, I'm like dizzy. Where did it go? It's highlighted. Jesus. Oh my God, guys. I'm getting old. Man. Warren Buffett has better than me, guys. He's 90 and he is better. Jesus, guys, I'm getting old. All right, so he's 18.26 mil here. It's negative. So you could, they're negative and negatives. You could use the absolute value. So what that tells me is the common stock, it increased by 193%. Now, of course, you see the negative here. Don't worry about it because it's money that they're spending, so that's why. But it increased, right? So this is a 1100% change in the normal, simple moving average distribution. So obviously, and I got to go ahead and fix this. We'll get, in terms of, so you can say, oh, wow, it's 193% more they invested, but you could still take the absolute value. It's still a lot. That's a big discrepancy. Okay. So they increased it by a lot, by 200%. Right. So that, what is it? That's not a double. That's three. So what's 6 times 3? That's 18. That's 18, right? 6 times 3 is 18, which is why it says 193, right? Right. So a double is 100%. A triple is 200%. Does that make sense? Um. Okay. So there's that. No, 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 no. All right, there it is. They did a buyback. No, 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 no. This is not a buyback. This is not considered a buyback. Yes, it's called common stock repurchase, but it's a treasury stock purchase. If I recommend watching the video again and repeat watching it until you understand. Okay. Hit that like, respect. Oh, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, definitely. Please hit the like button. It helps. Where does that money come from? Well, yeah. I mean, so good question. So here's operating activities, right? And ultimately, that money comes from operations, right? So that's they clearly have no debt, right? So it comes from operating activities, right? All right. So it comes from that, or some companies use debt to do that. And I've seen, this is a different discussion, but I've seen some companies during the pandemic, they use debt to pay their dividends, like ExxonMobil, right? What money are they using to buy back treasury? So yeah, so their own, right? Al making a ton of videos leading up to this earnings. He knows we about to Michael Jackson moon minus the. So we'll talk about that. It's late. Got it. Operating cost. Got it. Perfect. Yeah, and you could, we could be a little bit better. Yeah, it is late, guys. Yeah, that's why I'm messing up a lot. Sorry, but I'm correcting myself. So it's that's the beautiful part. It's not. So okay, so here it is. So we can ask the question. So where does the money come from when they buy the treasury stock or the repurchase of share buyback? Where's that money coming from? From the statement of cash flow. So I'm just teaching you guys how to use this, your own GPT that you have within inside of the stock terminal. You have access to this. So, here it is, right? So cash flow from operating activities, just like what we said, right? Cash flow from investing, and then cash flow from financing. So sometimes they could use, which I don't I don't like to see. So hopefully, it's usually from the company's cash reserves also as well, or they can borrow it. So that's kind of where what that is. We can go deeper later on, but that's kind of where this, and you could see that they've been buying back their own shares, 6 million here, 6 million there, and the stock that they bought in 2023, that 6 million is worth a lot more now, right? So hopefully that makes sense. We could go even deeper on this, right? Okay. Thanks for the clarity. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Okay. Okay. So now let's go back. All right. You guys are going to get pissed off at me. Okay. You guys are going to get mad. You guys are going to get so freaking mad. Are you ready? So remember, I told you my girl is in an Arabic wedding. So I told her, can I use the computer, the Mac Studio? This was my computer, but I gave it to her. So I still have my account. You know how like you can have two usernames on a computer, right? So I logged in my own username, and a PowerPoint came up that I was doing due diligence on, and I was doing research, but I had to go back to Tucson, but I forgot to send I forgot to send myself the file, and shit. So I'm sorry. So this is the research I was doing. So um, I was looking at the due diligence here, and what do you see here? This happened near February, which is correct. So February 22nd, 2025, there was a signal. There's only been 4 signals in the past. February 21, 2025, which was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something happened. And this, when the Russell 2000, after index closes below 200-day average for the first time after at least 300 days above the average, you could see that when this signal happens, the Russell 2000 falls, the small caps fall. See that? So what happened at the Russell in February 21? So let's see. So so it shows you that the mean return is bullshit, right? It doesn't. So 3 months in, you're not going to make any. In fact, 2 weeks out, you're going to lose a lot of money. So essentially, for 3 months, it's going to be hell, right? It's going to be hell. You can see it's going to, right? So let's see what happened in February 21. So we actually let's just do this. You guys are gonna be mad at me, all right? I forgot to say I was gonna make a video on it, but I just forgot. Okay, so let's look at February 21, 2025. So let's look at February 21. Here's February 21, guys. I literally, dude, bro, you had the answers and left us hanging. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, what's this? I'm like, oh shit, the Russell. Oh fuck. And I was like, damn, I forgot to tell it. Okay. But you can see here, February 21. I'm done, right? I'm done. I know. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I mean that's yeah, I need a yeah, that was a bad call on my end. So I was like, oh shit, this is a bearish signal. So February 21, you can see what happened here. February 21 is right here. Right there. And since then, the stock it fell down 19%. And then here, 7.95. So at least it's recovering. But it fell. And you can say, how many months until you start making money? Well, first off, the first 3 months are gonna be crap, right? So all we gotta do is just say, what is 3 months from February 21, 2025? So May 21. So until May, we're not really going to do anything. Okay. On average. So when are we going to do something? So usually a year out, 12 months, maybe 6 months, 75% of the time. Right? So that's kind of where it's at on average. Right? And this is the 81, this was again, we had inflation, all this other crap, right? So this is what's dragging us down. This data, I mean, look at the Russell. Look. This thing's dragging us down. Look at that. That dragged us down. Technically, we have been going down. We are following an 81 plan. So this could be kind of crap for the whole year if we follow the 81 cycle. I don't think that's going to be the case. 81 is different than what's happening now. But I think if it's May, June, July, August, I think August and beyond, we're going to start seeing positive momentum. So August and beyond. However, there is good news. So let's open up IWM. So I've been looking at IWM. By the way, IWM is the Russell 2000. Okay. And I'm sorry, guys. This is what happens. I logged on the computer today, and I said, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh man, this is something you don't want to miss." So I was doing the due diligence, and I was like, "Oh man." The sad part is I had the due diligence. Like, damn. Yeah. So I mean, anywho, I will be more. I do a lot of work, guys, and sometimes things go through. Yeah. Now I just do my due diligence on one computer. So, right. So I know, yeah, now we're gonna save our ass with good news. Exactly. So you can see here that we've broken out of this trend line for the um, Russell. So I think we're gonna rally to 209, 210 before dropping back down. This 200-day simple moving average is going to be tough, and I think potentially we may get to it. Um, Either Trump signs a deal and we can finally bounce up. We'll figure it out, and then also the Federal Reserve has to figure out when we're going to cut freaking rates. Now, let me explain to you another concept. There's a lot of guys. This is a very important live. I'm sad that I'm doing it right now. This is kind of stupid that I'm doing it now. Yeah, this is a really important live, and we're doing it now. How ridiculous is this? Freaking stupid. Okay, so let me. So I may have to talk about this again. Well, people can watch it tomorrow. So yeah. Listen to this. This is funny as hell. Business major, my ass. Okay, so all right. So this is the let me actually put this here. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, this is better. So this is the red is the 2-year Treasury, and the blue is the Federal Reserve federal funds rate. Okay, so you could see how in 2021 and 2022 the Treasury yield exploded. The 2-year Treasury, think of it as a magician. I call the 2-year Treasury the magician. Okay, so why do I call it the magician? Because it is prognostic. Let's use another word for people that don't know what prognostic means. It tells me what the future of what the feds are going to do. So because it started going up, then that makes sense. You could see like the feds weren't raising rates. It started ballooning, right? So in 2021 it started increasing, right? This was the end, right? This was like the end, right? So of 2021, it ballooned. So what did the Fed started to do? The Fed started to increase rates. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So if you were to look at Palantir, let's give example. If you were to look at Palantir in 2021, what happened? In 2021, Palantir, the stock price dropped 77%. Okay? And this was before they proved themselves with the triple dragon. Okay? So what is it telling you now? Now it's dropping. So you can see the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates at the level of the 2-year. Just like I told you, it's the magician. It tells you the 2 years telling you that they need to drop. So it starts dropping. Now, what it's telling me now, right here, specifically here, it's telling me that the Federal Reserve needs to drop 2 to 3 more basis points. You get what I'm trying to say? So, which is why Secretary Bessent said that the Fed should probably start cutting interest rates. And that's because the 2-year Treasury is signaling, remember, it is the magician. It tells you when the Feds are going to increase rates, but it also tells you when the Federal Reserve decreases rates. Okay? Again, you could speak to, again, this is economics. I taught the executive MBA people with economics. I also taught finance. The problem is if you speak to the best economics of the world, they're not rich because they don't know how to use this to make money on Wall Street. I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm going to be soon going on 15 years. And I'm telling you, I'm teaching you things that you cannot learn from other people. Okay? So I believe the Federal Reserve is going to start cutting interest rates. But the question is, when are they going to cut interest rates? That is the $1 million question. To answer that question, well, we have the poly market. And as of right now, we have no chance they're going to cut in May. How about June? No chance they're going to cut in June. How about July? Okay, so July, we did have a chance, and now it's kind of like 50-50. We don't know. We don't know. I personally think they may cut in July. I think they may cut. In fact, 50%, I'm sorry, 7% believe that there's going to be a 50 basis point cut. 25% believe there's going to be a 44% cut. So if you add 44 and 47, like versus no, so cut versus no cut. Actually, some 3% believe there's going to be an increase. That's like stupid. Okay, these are gamblers. Okay, these people just want money, right? This is a gamble, right? So about 51% believe that there's going to be a cut. For June, the no. So I think we're going to start cutting. July, right? Right. So I think that's kind of where it is, right? So I think July and August is where potentially we're going to start seeing cuts, or maybe after August, which goes back to this due diligence that we saw here. I think kind of 6 months out, which will be May, June, July, either July and August. But remember, the stock market is forward thinking. So if the stock market sees this, then most likely it is going to anticipate it earlier. So based off of what I'm seeing now, I think we may not even rally that much for Clover. I think we may spike and we may lose a little bit of it, but that's BS. Again, I'm arguing with myself right now, right? I'm thinking in my head, and but I'm thinking out loud. I think that's BS because if you look at Google, Meta, they all had great quarters and their stock is up a lot, right? So their stock is up a lot. Look at Meta, right? Meta, Meta's up, right? Look at Palantir, right? Palantir is up. Palantir is up at a new all-time high, right? Look at Microsoft. I'm sure Microsoft is up too, isn't it? Yeah, it's up, right? It's recovering. Let's look at Google. Google's recovering, right? So that's kind of where we're at, right? So because now we are, let me go ahead and look at the comment section here. Let's see. I hope you're wrong. You're probably not. No, I mean, I hope I'm wrong too. Trust me, bro. I hope I'm wrong in terms of the this here, but it seems that it's the signal did hit. So, right about the Treasury buyback, just so people know that these buybacks are not retired like regular buybacks, which reduce outstanding shares. Treasury buybacks be reduced to yes. I mentioned that, yes, but just to reiterate it, yes, you're absolutely correct. Yep, saving my ass. Good news, absolutely. You're like big media doom and gloom until the fluff price at the end. No. I mean, I just I'm just saying how it is. No emotion. Shares are repurchased and held. Yep, that's it. Done. Shares are repurchased and held for potential future use. Done. Wednesday is Fed rates. Oof. Yeah, I don't think they're going to cut rates in May. And based off of the poly market, I don't think June, but I think either July, but definitely I would say it has to be at August post. We'll see. Can't they just start cutting rates and Clover really sass? Yeah, I know, Rafiki. I know, man. I know. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, Andy equals Clover dog. Let's see here. So anywho, yeah, it looks like we have a troll in the comment section. I'm not even gonna I'm not, I think Master the Chin taught me something. Master, I think Master has a little, he looks young, but he's probably sleeping now. Let me see. He taught me something. Law number 10. Oh, Rafiki. Master taught me something, which I need to read this book. I need to read this book. So he taught me something. He sent me this. No, I don't know. I don't know if this is it. Is it? Master, can you help me? I don't know if this is it. Master, let me see.
Authority. Recognize the fortunate so that you may choose their company, and the unfortunate so that you may avoid.
It's like one of the laws. This is like every man should read this book, honestly. It's by a favorite author that I like. I can't I can't seem to find I'm sure there is a no, they don't even say the laws. The laws here. Seems like it's online here. Well, this is what I can do. How about this? Let's see if I can find it. This will be a good learning lesson. From this book titled "Which Law Does It Say About Not Surrounding Yourself with People That Argue and That Are Negative and That Suck Energy?" Oh, it is. It is Law 10. Oh, thank you, Master. Okay, so Master sent me this. So let's read this. Law 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. So the person who's commenting is pretty much, I'm happy and I'm lucky, right? So Green warns that emotions, particularly negative ones, are highly contagious. Associating with people who are chronically negative, unhappy, or unlucky can bring misfortune upon you, not necessarily through any mystic means, but because their mindset and patterns of behavior influences can drag you down emotionally and energetically. He advises that you should avoid those who bring negativity or emotion chaos into your life. Surround yourself with the joyful and successful, as their mindset is also contagious, but a positive, empowering one, which is what the whole stock terminal is all about. A notable quote from the law: "You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only participating in your own disaster." So that's a very powerful law. I recommend people read this book. I'm going to read it. Master the Chin is our lifetime access members. I appreciate you for showing me this. I like Robert Greene. I've heard he's done other things. Like 10,000 hours makes you a champion. And I think that this is very nice because I like to be able to help people. But you know what? Some people don't want to be helped. And so let their infection infect themselves and let them basically be infected. So go infect yourself, homeboy. All right, Andy, go infect yourself. And that's it. You know, I don't want to catch your virus, man. I hope and I wish you fortune and hope when the next time you open a fortune cookie, you get some good luck. Okay, now let's going back here. Right? Let's go back. What are your thoughts on Buffett retiring? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's better that he did this now. So if he, God forbid, if he passes away, it's not going to hit the stock hard enough. But I think personally, it's an end of an era. I always wanted to go. He's my role model. I love him a lot. He's changed my life, and I'm using his teachings with, of course, Peter Lynch's and whatnot to change others. So, right. So there it is. Right. He's a geologist. Andy's my my girlfriend's husband. What does that mean? My girlfriend's. Oh God, Jesus, Crump. Whoa, whoa. Right. Okay, that is hilarious. Nah, it's fun to joke around. I love it. So this is, by the way, are these laws pretty good? Al, please do a calculation. What do you think will happen Tuesday? So it's hard to say, but if you want a calculation, watch my video on alignment healthcare. I do a calculation for Clover on alignment, so you can see it in the alignment video that I made yesterday. First off, holy smokes, we have about 167 people that are watching right now, which is really unusual. We have 116 people watching on Twitter. We have 51 people watching on YouTube. That is really cool. I don't want to watch it because I already did. Well, no, so we talked about it. Because I use Alignment Healthcare as a prognostic indicator of Clover, and I think I said anywhere between, I don't know, anywhere between like maybe like 4 to 7, around that. Then that's my hypothesis. But I personally, we have to see what the free cash flow is going to be, right? Very quickly, for folks, if you can, folks that are watching, if you can so delightfully, go to Al Stock Trades on LinkedIn and give us a follow. We need about 8 more followers to get to 150. And that means that we'll be able to live stream to LinkedIn. They have this like rule where we can't live stream until so this is a new thing we created. So it'll be nice to be able to live stream the same time at 3 platforms. That's pretty cool. Right? But yeah, guys, let me see. Wait, there's more. I want to make sure we got everything. Yes. So here's the S&P after Russell 2000. So this is the research I was doing, right? Extension. Registered a 5-month low, but not 12-month low. So you could see, on average, it's going to take us some time. I think I think we may start seeing some magic in May, but definitely in July and August. July and August and onwards, we're going to have a really good bullish time. What else? The same thing. And you could see kind of, this was a very, very bearish indicator, which you can see on February 24. You could see we kind of went to hell. We went to hell. So that's kind of where. And so Rafiki, you're saying 40, 40. We're going to the 40-40 club. I love it. I hope so. Let me do one more thing because I said this on my private Discord group. So assuming that there is no SAS and SAS doesn't work. Obviously, we know it does. They just released the paper. But let's assume it doesn't work. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, right around, let's say, the 5-year mark, we're going to get, I think, the $30. That's without SAS. Now, assuming, let's say, if SAS fails, what I think is going to happen is a lot of retail investors, especially when it starts to come in at around $30, and let's say if SAS is a no-go, and we do the value, and let's say the value is $25. Like, let's say that's it, guys. And this is it. We finally, I told you we're going to get a lot of data. And once I get a lot of data, I'm finally going to be able to accurately see kind of what's the range of Clover, which is really nice because then you can start doing straddles and whatnot. But again, I'm not going to talk about that because that's like stage 4, part of the I'll stock trades progression, right? But what I want to do is I want to focus on let's say the value is $25. A lot of people are going to gamble that's going to go to 40, 50, whatever, right? That's fine. We'll do the covered call, wheel strategy, cash secured puts, and we're going to be able to squeeze these people's monies. And who knows, you might be able to get your shares for free. So that's pretty impressive, right? The problem is we won't know until we get more data. You see how Andy was trying to say all these things, and we had some people that were speculating of potential, who knows, right? But you see how Andy stopped talking? You see how Andy just left? Right? It's because I hit him with Law 10. I hit him with an infection. I gave him I showed him that he's an infection and he needs to look at himself in the mirror. And this, I almost gave him antibiotics. Who knows? Maybe he realized, maybe his girl left him, right? right? Maybe he's like wondering, maybe I am an infection, right? So who knows? But these laws are very important because right now, instead of arguing with someone who's highly contagious, I skipped him. I said, I'm not going to talk to the misfortune. I say this because there's a lot of young folks that watch our videos. I see the statistics. Read this book because I want to read this book. And to be quite honest, I'm hoping next year when I have a little bit more time, we can create a book club on the private Discord, and we could just kind of read chapter 1, chapter 2, come together and just kind of talk about these laws and how to be better men, right? And women, right? And your children are welcome to join as well. Because, yeah, we have all this data and we have all this money. But I'll tell you, it's good to also have other things as well. And this mindset is very powerful. So there it is. Love you guys a lot. I hope this was a really good video. Sadly, it was a late one, but there's a lot of good stuff here. I'm watching this right now. I think we're going to go up before we're going to test this 200 for a while, but we'll see. And that's it, guys. Yeah. If you like the video, please subscribe, like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.